Hello guys, welcome to my Tempoross Tempoross Y cook. It's quite easy, items needed. It's highly recommend to at least have a harpoon, dragon or crystal will be very helpful. And hammer, and actually the free-to-play hammer that you can equipable one makes it even way better. A rope is necessary, at least 8 buckets needed, and actually being on lunars for water spells is very helpful. What you can do is instantly spam click if you know where you start, so you don't lose your ticks. You go over towards the first that you see where you can fish and make sure you spec up so you're above your level. Of course, each and every individual level will be more helpful, and if you're smart, actually equip yourself the preserve, so you keep your levels longer. About 8 or so fish in, you always want to start cooking. So how many free inventories you need is 17. From those 17 on, you fish about 7 or 8 depending on how much you get. You cook them, because once you have cooked 7 or 8, there's always a next spot where you can double fish. So it's not helpful to single fish consistently when you already can cook your first batch, if that makes sense. You know, your first, let's say 8. So make sure after you cooked your whole inventory, or fished your whole inventory with the double ones, there is actually a plugin called, I have no idea, but Tempoross plugin. It really will help you. What you see over here is, of course, the tsunami. That's the colossal wave is coming in. You don't want to get hit by that at all. Make sure you consistently cook everything before you do anything else. As you see, the storm intensity over here is actually where you need to focus on. It should never reach 100%. Once you're full, make sure to actually reach, and this is very important for pacing, you want to reach the crate before the fire starts. If you have that, you know you're pacing on the right pace and there's nothing that really can go wrong too bad. So let's see, right? From the start that we cook, we run. And then right about the crate, boom, there it is. So that's almost perfect. Will be a little bit faster obviously, but I'm not perfect at this game. You want to kill pretty much the energy by throwing those fish at Tempoross towards 10% or less, but never 0 for the first batch. And you can never reach 0 because we only have 17 inventories free. Make sure you don't dose all those fires, just the fires necessary to walk through. You want to keep the fires alive as long as possible, so they actually go towards multiplying themselves. And of course, the reason that I dosed the second one was because there is the double spawn. It's always better than a single spawn spot. So we're gonna cook ourselves the next batch, or fish ourselves the next batch. The thing over here is there can never be a colossal wave that blows out all your fires if the energy is either 10 or below. Therefore, we can save up as many as possible as we want without having a too big of a problem, besides, of course, the storm intensity. So you don't want to stand too close to them, because sometimes, they can spawn in you while you're cooking, so that's not a good sign. So I dose only the ones that are too close to me, just in case. And it's not too bad. The reason that we actually have the Lunar's spellbook with waters, fire and astral is so we can do humidified consistently. So since we're almost done, I just dosed one off. So we already have some kind of padding, if that makes sense. You want to go with the least resistant path that saves you the most of the fires. So here I was close on having barely no water left. So that's why I actually do humidified, of course. I only throw in 1. Keep in mind, this is very important. You only want to throw in 1. Because that is how many you need from 4 to 0. You're gonna just fish this batch over here the essence bash, I will call it, because you see it going from, 100% lower and lower and lower. You want to reach toward at the first phase, or, second phase is officially called. You want to reach to 40 or 35, give or take. But not really much below that, and especially not over 40. So 41, I think I stopped on 41 here, which is decent enough, but keep in mind, I'm somewhat experienced, if it makes sense. Yeah, 43, so that's fine. Just go for 40 or below, if you guys do this for a first trial. So I only open the ones that I need for patting. And here I made just a little mistake and misclicked to see whether, what to do, if that makes sense. But as you see, we can just throw in whatever we want and it should be fine, because we only fished 17. You can do 19 if you want. That's highly doable, but not really recommended in my opinion. So since it's 10% energy, and you see all those fires over here, the reason that we reached 10% as soon as possible is so we actually don't have the colossal wave coming in and all those fires for us. Because each individual fire is like 50 points, which is just, heaven pretty much. You really want to have all those points, right? So therefore, every time we reach towards 0, we just get everything up, water filled and whatnot. And this is the key trick. This is the real key trick. You want to go to the other side of the room, because it will be completely filled by this time that you can dose. And the points, you're just raking points at this moment, it's just too much to handle pretty much. There's no real significant thing. And you see that we have a double one, so I told by myself, it's always good to fish in third batch, but you don't want to fish the third batch at your starting point. You always want to go to the other side and then fish it. Otherwise you might reach in a state that might be inevitably to your loss. So therefore, just open a little bit of things, getting some points in and whatnot. You see that we're still opening certain things. And I'm actually gonna make a mistake very soon over here, which is stupid, but hey, even with a mistake, it shows you that you still can get massive points. So that's quite nice. So you don't need to be tick perfect with dosing the fires and your third batch of food, if that makes sense. Because the energy is so low at this moment that it doesn't matter too much. So we're just gonna clear the pad a little bit more, because I just know that we have a problem otherwise. Because you don't want to reach the storm intensity to 100%, of course. You can actually do the that one that we click right now to fix it, to repair it. It gives, I think, 20 points or 50 points, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter too much. You don't want to dose them all off, because that might be a problem in the near future. Because if there is too little, you don't get your points. So the more there is, the more it can spread, if that makes sense. So over here, once I actually reach a full inventory or close to a full inventory, so 16, I make a mistake very soon. I don't know precisely where anymore, but I think I misclicked with dosing something, but I could not know for a fact anymore. So let's see. We're making the pathway. Always nice. So we killed it off. And you want to go towards like 10% right now. After the storm reached, almost to 90. Because you cannot reach 100. It's impossible. You will die and the game is over. So, and you don't want to kill it instantly with the essences, of course. So therefore you want to be 10, 8-ish. Something like that, So I stop about 6. That's completely fine. To get some extra, how would I say, some extra fish in, some extra dosings of fire. Yeah, here is where it actually went all to hell, but hey, it is what it is. Oh, never mind. As you see, we have like 7,000 points, which is inevitably enough if you have good RNG, which I totally would not recommend quitting here, because it is possible to get 10 or 11 points with the amount of points we have. But here, I misclicked here and I lost a lot, as you see. You need to be somewhat precise, but hey, it is what it is. So I kind of was in a state of like, oh, what else to do? And since we didn't do the energy, everything got away. So over here, this is inevitably the next mistake because of my first mistake. So we lose even more. We lose more fish. We lose buckets. So it's definitely not a clean run. But that only shows, in my opinion, thank God that it is possible without being tick perfect. The next thing is over here, is we don't have the rope anymore. So if there is a next collisional wave or whatever cloud, whatever it is, it just will kill us once more with fish. So yeah, with all that said, I just went for somewhat a full inventory. I didn't even cook it, so therefore I was like, okay, let's just end the game, because we have more than plenty as soon as possible, if that makes sense. We are so very close. This was actually almost perfect. The moment that I grabbed everything, we just had enough, if that makes sense. But you can theoretically do a way better run than I actually did. I'm just very happy with consistently raking in points. The storm intensity is only 55%. So therefore it shows you we're good, you know? So I hope this will help you guys, and keep in mind, the only thing that really is important is the first and the second floor. This is like the last wave, let's say, and it's not too difficult, because the intensity goes so slow, the storm intensity, that you have so much room to dose off those fires, fish your food. It really doesn't matter. The first and the second storm intensity are way faster and way more punishing. So try to keep that as clean as possible, and the third one really doesn't matter too much. I think I ultimately gave up here, and I was like, okay, this should be enough. So therefore, let's see. Yeah, I was like, I don't even need to per se cook this. That makes sense, because the storm intensity is getting on the point where it's uncomfortable, and I didn't want to completely ruin a 10 minutes with a lot of points, if that makes sense. But we should have more than enough. The reason why is because I dropped actually some of the buckets, if you see. The buckets are gone, some I dropped, so I have more inventory for fish, and therefore not really a problem, if that makes sense. Otherwise, 17 fish wouldn't be enough. You would have needed 19. So yeah, that's the whole reason why we still went for a full inventory and then didn't cook. So now we just kill off the last essences, and that's it. You should have now why cook. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Bye bye. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell.